All right. Welcome everyone. I'm not sure if you can hear me. If you can, please you can give me yes on the chat here. Can you see me? Can you see me okay? So thank you very much for joining in, and good evening. I'm Giuseppe Basile. I'll be your host for this new show, the Tokyo FX Street Tokyo Open Live Room. And every day we will meet from Sunday to Thursday at 8 p.m. EST. So flag this on your calendar. We will always be here, and I'd love to actually just dive into the charts. But before we do that, I just want to make a little introduction here. So hope everything is fine. Welcome Alp, Matt, Rigul. We have Peter Pantelis. Thanks a lot for joining in, everyone. I'm not sure whether I can scroll up and down here. Hi Mauricio. So if I don't see the live signal, please refresh the page. So okay. So let's see if I see the live here. So bear with us. It's the first session here when we will have things working fine, and everything should be easier here. So bear with us just a minute here. Okay. Okay. So the it should be okay. Thank you, Maurizio. I'm thrilled as well. I think everything is working now. So I lowered my volume so that I don't hear my voice as I have my window open as well. So I think we are good to go. Thanks a lot again for joining here, and let me share a brief presentation I've prepared here for you, and I don't want to bother you with this information, but I suppose as it is the first day, it would be actually good to join. I'm not sure whether you can see the slides already. There is a little delay, so I'll need to get used to this. So bear with me, and we will actually have this. So just bear with me so that we have everything working here. So can you all right, so can you hear my voice now, or do you see the live? Or I don't really know what you're hearing at the moment, so I'm not sure whether it's live. I see a little bit of delay in the video, and I'm sharing the PowerPoint at the moment, so I don't know if you can hear that. Sorry, if you can see that. Thanks a lot for Mauricio and Desi for setting everything up, and loud and clear. Okay, very good. Everything is fine. Okay, so I don't know if you see the screen here. Can you give me a yes? You hear and see. Okay, I just don't know whether you see. Okay, very good. So So, and you should be able to see my slides here as well now. And once that's on, okay, now PowerPoint. So it's coming on. So thanks a lot for joining in. And this is an initiative. It's the FX Street Tokyo Open Live Room. It's a daily show of which we are going to okay, good, you see them. So we're going to do real trading and analysis of the market at the heart of the Asian session, and I will be with you, and we're going to look at the market in a serious way. It's every day from Sunday to Thursday. Today is Tuesday, January the 26th, and okay, now you see the PowerPoint is not yet on the live. Maybe I'll close the live. Just keep the I'll just keep the chat here. So I'll need to get used to it. So okay, so very briefly here, I want to mention a disclaimer that I'll mention every day. I'll be very brief. Now, it took a little bit, few minutes here, but every day will be the setup would be pretty quick. Trading Forex, and its derivatives, futures, options, and CFDs, just to mention some of the instruments. And as well as other instruments, retail of exchange transactions involve substantial risk of loss, and it's not suitable for all investors. So you have to know that you may lose all of more of your initial investment, and leverage can work for you as well as it can work against you because it magnifies gains as well as losses. So past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please also review the FX Trade risk disclosure on the website. Now, the information I'm going to give and the trading ideas I'm going to provide should not be relied upon as a substitute of extensive independent research which should be performed before making your investment decisions. So the idea that I'm going to provide here are for educational purposes only, and you're free to paper trade them. I, Giuseppe Basile, FibStalker Consulting Inc. and FX Trade will not be responsible for any losses incurred on investments made by attendees as a result of any information in this webinar. So it's going to be our daily disclaimer, and you will learn that risk is very important to me. Indeed, I have several risk parachutes. I try to manage risk every time I can. And today is Tuesday, January the 26th, 2016 here. That's the next slide. We're going to do a brief introduction, a market review on H4 and daily, and we have news. So, in the coming days, we'll just move into the charts. I'm just doing this introduction here, but what you'll see is that the news in Australia actually moved the markets, and actually they moved them in our direction as I'm gonna show you. So typically this will be the kind of organization we have. Today we'll have an introduction briefly, and then we'll just dive into the markets and review the 8 markets I follow, as well as keep an eye on the news. I don't trade during the news. I try to avoid the news. I believe the news actually complete our trading setups, and today it's a great example of this. And then I'll be very open to review any opportunities you want to bring on the table, and also other Forex pairs above and beyond those pairs that I follow. Q&A, if you have questions, write them in the chat. I'll be very, very happy to answer the question, and we will also discuss practical aspects of trading during our hour here of discussion. Now, I know you are eager to drop into and dive into the charts, but before we get there, just very briefly, I want to give a little bit of bio about myself. Yeah, probably it's buffering, so Peter is saying it's lost here, but the technology is a little bit delayed there. So I'm a computer science engineer, and I have a master's in finance recently in 2010. I'm a certified market technician, and I'm also aligned with the International Federation of Tech Analysts, for which I published 3 research papers. I started in 2001, committed to research in 2003, only understood the importance of mentoring in 2006, and I work with a number of mentors there. You have that on the slide now: Van Tarp, Ivica Judracic, Dear Barton, David Asley, Jody Napoli, and others. In 2016, I'll have around 19,000 hours of total market exposure, and you can find me on FibStalkerTrading.com, and of course on F Street, for which I'm very happy to be a premium contributor for the webinars. Okay, so that's myself, a little bit of the tools you're going to use. And I actually love my charting on TradeStation. That's what I use. That's what I use to study charts. I got used to it because it's now 8 years I'm using it, and I love it. It really helps me understand what's going on. That's one of the tools we're going to use. And then for trading, at the moment, I'm using CTrader. And now, very briefly, this is a trading room, and this is real stuff. I mean, I'll be analyzing the market, but I'll be doing my trading sometimes. Okay, so and actually, I will sometimes need to trade. So whenever that happens, that is the next slide you're gonna see here. It's now trading, and that's what I'm gonna see. I'm gonna put this up. So before we get there, you saw before those charts, TradeStation and CTrader. And whenever I have to trade, I'll put up this, but don't go away, please. I'll be back very, very quickly. I just need to calculate my risk and see whether, I'm happy with the trade and take the trade. And then we can discuss that again. That'll be my own trading. I suggest you paper trade or just consider those ideas for educational purposes. Okay, so let's dive into the chart. I suppose everybody is everybody's looking for that. Thanks again for joining here, and let's look at what's going on in the markets, and particularly, my desk is very busy, so I'm gonna close something here, otherwise I won't be able to show you anything. And one thing I wanna start with is obviously what's going on at the moment on the Euro-Australian dollar. There was the news, and let me pull up the news here as well. And let me see if I can share. I can show this to you. And I can actually show and share what I see here in this market. Okay. Now you should see. You will see the market actually. So you will see my face here, and then soon after you will see this chart. So what you see on the screen at the moment, this is the Euro Australian dollar. Now this is a very small time frame, and it's not very clear what's going on here. But when we actually look at the daily time frame here, we start understanding the big picture, and the big picture is that this market is in a correction lower, a correction that has started in a very, very large time frame with resistance around this 164.75 here, which is this area here that I'm showing you at the moment. And the market came down, kind of showed a lot of weakness. The bull were not capable of picking this market higher, and then we had a sequence of measure move here. And you will see one thing I have not mentioned is the fact that in this review I'm going to use 2 methods. One is going to be the FibStalker method, which is my own method that I use for trading, and then I will use also the continuation method. And if you're interested in the continuation method, I wanna share I want to share some material that I published on FS Street, and I heartily recommend you review that material as well. The continuation style, it's a very good trading paradigm, and it's easy as well, so you can easily integrate in anything else that you use at the moment. So let me see if I can show the page to you. I want to give this material as a reference, so you will have it, and I don't have to mention it. Okay, so before we get back into the charts here, what you're seeing here is the daily on the euro Australian dollar here. But before I continue there, let me share this material, because we're going to refer to this material very often, and I want to give you some reference here. Now, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, can you write it down when you hear 1, 2? I just want to see which kind of delay we have, so that will help me. So I'm going to count now very slowly. As soon as you hear my number, please write it down. Can you help me with that? Maybe Peter or someone in the group. So I'll start counting now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait a moment, though. Okay. Just want to see. So I'll explain that in a moment. Okay. So there is a little bit of delay. There are a few seconds of delay there. Okay. So that's good. Okay. Okay. So if you have the questions, please write them again, because I lost some of the questions. There was one question on the candle when they close. I'm going to provide all these details. Obviously, my charts are aligned to my time frame, which is Eastern time here, time in Toronto. I'm based in Toronto, and so all my times are actually all specific to the Eastern time here. Okay, now let me quickly share with you as I also get used to this. Let me show also the let me show Forex Live here. Let me show my page here, and there's a lot of material you can go. Hello, Kartik. Thanks for joining in as well. And before we get into the markets here, I'm just doing an introduction. So thanks a lot for joining. I don't see a lot of history here in the chat, so I will need to have a larger window here, or a separate window. So this is my page on FX Street here, and whenever you see that, you find a lot of webinars in the page, and you will find also information on the continuation style. The continuation style is going to be one of the trading methods that we are going to use, and I suggest you review these webinars. Some of these webinars are premium, so if you are serious about trading, you should also maybe consider subscribing for the premium webinar. And there are hundreds and hundreds of webinars and very good quality material. So I just want to point this to you. I have a series here in 2015 that started with the continuation trading system for Forex and stocks, and you want to definitely review that, which will give you the basis of the continuation style. Okay, and okay, so now without further ado, let's get into this market and let's try to understand, starting from the euro, Australian dollar, what's going on here. I want to be cognizant of time. It's 20 minutes to 9. So we will go for another 10 minutes and then we'll do a quick recap. Now, today we started a little bit later and I did a little bit of introduction here, but I promise that in the coming days, we'll just dive into the markets. And so let's look at this euro Australian dollar, what's going on here or what happened. We saw this market participating at this 148.60 level clearly here, which broke price into the first and second target. This is a FibStalker level that I follow. And on the FibStalker level, I also have an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement that I have with my students. So I won't be able to explain or always explain all the details, but I think it will be, it will be actually enough for you to look at the trading ideas and even and absolutely paper trade these ideas. So again, sharing here the charts. As you can see here, the participation at 148.60 level broke price into the first and second target, and then the bulls were not capable of holding this price for a continuation higher. When that happens, there is an inversion of the trend, and this trend lower actually has started. Now, what happens here is that this market has been very, very good to us, and indeed, we captured this market yesterday, the all the way back to 157.10 as traded. And now I have that trade, and that's a very good opportunity there, and I'm willing to bring that trade into the 152.90 29 29.30 level here. Okay, so this trade has started actually at 157.10. Around that area, we got a Forex trade, and as we go, I'll explain also the concept of Forex trade, and this trade actually, I would like to see the most recent history here. I'm not sure whether I can see that. And maybe, okay, so I'm not sure. I just want to try to see your questions as well, but please keep actually writing them down. I should be able to see them. So this is the case we are building here. Now, these levels are for me very, very important, because these levels represent for me the participation of important classes of algorithms in the market. And whenever algorithms are around, you can be sure that the something is going to happen at these levels. Okay, so the 50%, the 157.10 as a target at this 152.29, and this is our trade. So obviously this is one of the trades we took, and this trade it's currently working. Now, one thing I would actually bring your attention to, and I'd like to see if there are any questions, you can write them down, and I'll be happy to answer the question. I don't see a lot there, and I don't know how to scroll up and down, so I will need to learn that as well. But bear with me, and that is going to be that is going to be easy. Now, let me show you something interesting here. When we go to a smaller time frame, what happens is that we got a gap right after the news. In which direction that gap went to? That gap went to in the direction of the trade. And this is a confirmation that this level where algorithms participate are actually very, very powerful. And actually the news it's actually the news is actually always or very often, I would say, moving price in the direction of the on the direction in which the algorithms are actually positioned. Now, this is not chance. You will see this again and again and again. You will see this regularly. This chart is a 30-minute chart here, and we got the news. The market just continued lower in the direction of the trade. Okay, so if you see these blue bars here, these blue bars are the open, the most important open we follow. So the first blue bar, the session, is this vertical line here on my chart. The first blue bar is the Tokyo Open, and we'll always be looking at the market around the Tokyo Open. Now, for this specific market, the Tokyo Open of yesterday, because this is yesterday, was not really fascinating or useful. But I can tell you that there are sessions, especially in some of the markets that I'm going to follow, Tokyo sessions that are very, very useful. Okay, and we can actually get an opportunity there. What you will see here, the second blue bar is the 3 a.m., the European session, which, as you know, is the most high volume and powerful session in Forex. We have about 36% of the overall Forex small volume that is exchanged during the European session. Okay, and we got our setup last night. As I ran also a personal private room with my students, and we got an entry there. That entry there, it's the entry that I showed you on the 4-hour time frame here. Okay, that was that entry. Sorry, on the daily time frame here. And he pushed price lower. He broke the back of the bears and continued lower. Where is this mark going? You can bet on it. And record my my voice here. It's going to get into 52.29. A lot of people will see this as previous highs. Yes, these are previous highs, and there was a reaction there. But that's not where the market is going to stop. Okay. The market is eventually going to go into 52.29. And for reason that I'm going to explain in the coming days, if you join and stay with me and stay with us, I'll explain you why there is a potential for this market to move even lower, much lower. Okay, so it's 8:45. I'll do another 5 minutes, and then I'll do a recap of today. Time has run very, very fast today. We lost a little bit of time in the initial organization, but tomorrow we are gonna dive right into the chart. So come, and we're gonna have a lot of informative and a lot of fun here. I want to review very quickly the the US dollar, Canadian dollar, and there is a lot of talking about it these days for obvious reason. And look at this move in the market. Okay, so where this market is going, I believe this market is going into 137.62. Believe it or not. Okay, yes, this market could stop before, but I can tell you that the participation on the weekly time frame for the US dollar, Canadian dollar will be convincing and convinced and strong by some classes of algorithms, very powerful classes of algorithms, only when this price will get into 137.60. Okay, so this market as well is an extension short, which traded yesterday. I was lucky with the euro Australian dollar. I wouldn't say lucky because it's not luck. We know exactly what are the values that we're looking at, and got a short there. I tried to short this a number of times without success, and this would have been even a better trade. We're talking about here probably 15 reward to risk for a trade like this. In the euro versus Australian dollar, we're talking about 10.75 reward to risk. So that's the kind of trade I'm interested in taking in my trading, and I hope that will be interesting to you as well. Okay, so the market I'm going to review and study, and these are also the market that I trade, are going to be the Euro Canadian dollar, the Euro dollar, of course, the US dollar, Canadian dollar, and the Euro Australian dollar. And these are my European and cross Europe pairs here. Okay, the ones that you see on the right side. Sorry, on the left side. On the right side, we have all the Asians. And the Asians are unbelievable technical. And every time you'll hear me speaking about, a market being technical, I always mean the level of participation we get from algorithms. And you'll be amazed to discover how precise, like in this case for the Euro Australian dollar, these levels might be. And so on the right side, we have the Asians, US dollar, Japanese yen, the Australian dollar, Japanese yen, the Australian dollar, US dollar, and then this play the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, which is a cross, sorry, which is an inter-Asian, I would say inter-Australian, Australia area play here, and they are beautifully technical. They move. Just to make an example here, this market has reacted to an extension lower at 747, and we know this level in advance. By the way, in the FibStalker methods, we know this level well before they trade. Okay, and tomorrow I'm going to review the SP500 as well. I'm going to review other markets and show these to you in more detail. But when the market came into this area, 50% area there, we got participation and the market zoomed right away. So if we have a way to time these areas with low risk, we solved the trading problem. Okay, now I will start a recap for this session right now. And in this session, I've introduced the new room. Thanks a lot for joining in. We went through a brief introduction and the disclaimer as well. Just always mind risk. My motto is risk management. It's trader's job number one, and we are paid for the quality of the decision that we take. I'm adamant about risk. I'm a maniac about risk, and if you stay in the room and you will join the room, you'll learn a lot about how you practically manage risk in your trades. I then reviewed the Euro Australian dollar and showed how the moves that we get in these markets always the news actually tend to move the price in the direction of the setup that is already in place. And I mentioned that yesterday we traded the 157.10 level here, which pushed price lower, and then the news on the Australian dollar CPI came in and kept pushing this price lower. In the Euro Australian dollar, we are going to 152.28. That's when and where I'm going to remove the trade. Okay. I then showed briefly the US dollar, Canadian dollar, and this market is moving in a similar fashion here. Huge move down in 3 days, a reaction into a level and extension short, and then a continuation lower. This market I mentioned has a potential to move into the 137.70 level here. And to some people, this may be very, very large and far level here, but this market can get to that level very, very quickly. Of course, there will be always anchors and places that algorithms attach to try to push this price higher. But if this market gets into that level, there's going to be a long, believe it or not, okay, for a continuation higher. So I also then concluded by just giving a brief presentation of the 8 markets we're going to follow. And of course, I'll answer all your questions as we go. And if there are any markets that you want me to review, I'll be very, very happy to review them. So I want to thank you for joining in today. This has been a ultra brief session. We didn't dedicate a lot of time to price because we had an introduction, as well as I needed to get used to the tools. But I can tell you that from tomorrow, and if you join us, we're going to have a lot of interesting time with price and learn what this market want to do, and I can say very often also well in advance to take the opportunity. So thanks a lot for joining in today, this new live Forex show. This is the FX Street Tokyo open session live show from Sunday to Tuesday, 8 p.m. EST to 9 p.m. EST, every day with us to trade the Forex market. Thanks a lot for joining, and the FibStalker here, signing off. And bye-bye now.